Hello everyone. I was asked to make this video because you don't get to see me behind the camera very often, um, and to tell my coming out story. So, sorry if this bores anyone to tears, and sometimes I tend to wander on a little bit, but here it goes. Um, when I was in college, I finally started dealing with feelings that I had been having pretty much my whole life, but didn't know how to recognize for what they were. There had always been signs in my life that I should have picked up on, but I didn't. And I pretty much lived in a really deep state of denial until one day I finally just said, maybe it's time that I start dealing with this. And the first thing I did, of all the nerdy things to do, was go to a bookstore and start looking at books. And it was there I met a friend who was also looking in the same stacks, who led me to a support group for questioning teens at the time, which was me. And it was there that I met my first boyfriend and pretty much came out to myself at that period of time. And for a while I lived that life secretly from my family. I didn't tell my dad or my mom or my brother. It was something that I was pretty sure that if I told anybody, that I wouldn't have anyone left in my life who I loved. And it was a very hard decision when I finally did tell them. And the first person I told was my brother, who I was really, and who I still am really close to. We were in a park late at night, which was something we did. All of us would go out and ride around the town and hang out in parks and do weird things in the middle of the night. And I told my brother, and he didn't get up and walk away, but he wasn't exactly real hot on the idea either. He's 6 years younger than me, so it was probably harder for him to see his older brother coming out. And his main point to me at that point was that he was concerned and that I shouldn't tell my dad, because he was afraid, as I was, that my dad would react badly, because we had always heard things about how if any of his kids were gay, he would just kill us. And I was really, really scared to come out to him. As time went on, I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, and it became clear that I couldn't keep living that way and not tell my family. So the next person I told was my dad, and I actually took a letter out of Tales in the City that the main character wrote to his family, because it expressed everything that was important to me to say that I didn't have my own words to say. And I gave that to him. And then he finally called me later, and he agreed to meet me at a bar to have a discussion about it. And I was really scared to go and talk to my dad, because of all the things he'd ever said and everything I always wanted from him. And I thought pretty sure that this would be the end of all that. And he cried a lot. He was a big baby, but it was nothing like how I thought it was going to be. And after he came through his own grief process, he actually, I can't say he was accepting, but he accepted me for who I was, even though he still doesn't think being gay is right. And he's still very much a part of my life, and he was with my wedding with my partner, which I think is really awesome for somebody who has a hard time accepting that himself. I told my mom, who pretty much told me I was going to hell. And I've never been super close with my mom as an adult, so I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised there. My grandma, who was my mom sometimes when my mom wasn't, she cried for a little while too, but she's always loved us for who we were, and she came back around after a while. And from that point, after I told those people who I cared so much about, I really didn't care who else knew. So in my job, I just started being honest. And if anybody gave me a hard time about it, they didn't do it to my face. So that's my story about coming out. After I broke up with that boyfriend at the time, I met someone who became my husband, who I love very much and who I'm with today, and who my family probably would adopt over me in a hot minute. and you know him. You met our children in many videos, and I'm a little self-conscious doing this because I don't know what kind of questions people would have for me. So that's my story for what it's worth. Maybe next time I can tell it without being so much of a goober about it. Thanks.